Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. This is Clarence Simmons, Loss Prevention, Texas, and this is episode 2 of our series that we have as far as security officers, home security, you name it. If it's about security, we're going to be talking about it in our podcast. Let's get started today. We're going to talk to Mr. Eban Rolle. He's the director of a security operations center here in the area. And we just want to say, first of all, good morning and welcome to Loss Prevention, Texas.
Good morning, Clarence. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's
Thank
great to
you.
be here.
Evan, we always, as we start these things, we want to let everybody know who you are. And so can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. My name is Eban Rolle. I'm actually originally from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a Texas transplant by way of the United States Navy. I did 20 years in the United States Navy. My primary specialty was military law enforcement. Retired in 2019 and came back to Texas. Since then, I've acquired my level 2, level 3, and level 4 commissions here in Corpus Christi through Loss Prevention, Texas. I'm a graduate from 2019. And since that time, I started off as the manager for a local security department. And then from there, I was actually promoted to director of security operations for the entire system, as it would for that security team.
Well, good deal. So I guess you said you retired from the military, first of all, from the Navy. Thank you for your service. And you look like you're 12 years old. I don't know how you did that, but you took care of yourself, and the military took care of you. And thank you for taking care of our country.
Anytime, don't mention it.
But it's awesome when, as you were going through some of the things that you've done, putting people in perspective into as far as what they need to do to be where they want to be, and you can't just be sitting on a couch, So that's an important thing. Now, back to us and you. What do you find important about the job that you do?
What I find important about the job that I do, again, you have to remember, I started off as a manager, and I was actually my position was armed security manager. The company that I work for, they were making a transition from level 2, which was an unarmed security program, to level 3, which is an armed security program. So what I found to be important was, the service that we do to for the community. Some other security companies and what they do, they're more of, they follow the observe and report mantra of a security officer. However, in my line of work, it's more than observe and report. And what I found was that we're actually part of that community. We're the face of our organization. We're the first person that they see when they come in, and we're the last person they see when they go out. And as I would say in the military, we're the people that everybody loves to hate because they don't like us when they don't need us, but they love us when they need us. I think the most important thing about it is that you learn you learn a skill. Um, you get information that kind of helps you along the way if you are moving towards something other than just being a security officer. If you have aspirations of working in law enforcement, working in a very structured level 3 program can actually enhance that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like if for those younger generation out there that is looking for a job that might get them into law enforcement, a good solid level 3 program is something that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I got you. And let's see if I can. Standard operating procedures are one of the most important things I think would help in that position. Being able to follow instructions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a key. So now, you mentioned train. Do y'all deal a lot with the public, or just a very little with the public, or how does that go in your
Our
administration?
job is, customer service. We're about, customer service, investigation and prevention. Just getting out there, preliminary investigation, and making sure that everybody is safe and secure. So we're that security officer that works with me will be that person that you see when you come through the front door. That security officer is almost like a living wayfinder. Can I help you? Where are you headed? Oh, go this way. Oh, it's over on this floor. It's upstairs. Or if they don't have the information, they point them to an information desk where they can get that information. Walking through the hospital, they're that visual deterrent to those that may want to cause a problem. So in that sense, we are very, customer forward. Um, and even though the primary responsibility for these security officers that are in this level 3 program is they're there to ensure that if there were an active attacker within that facility, their primary responsibility is to respond direct to threat and neutralize that threat.
Very good. So I guess based on what you said, as far as presence, that professional presence is of the utmost in that situation.
Yes. I pride myself on the security officers throughout our system, because you look around and sometimes you'll see, again, security officers that are a little slovenly, they're not put together very well. Um, but in my department, if you come to work looking bad, we're going to send you home and tell you to go fix yourself.
Well, that's a good thing because I mean, hey,
Yeah.
professional presence is very important. That's one of the things that we teach in our training. Unfortunately, sometimes those things fall by the wayside. So, as far as your ability or your interacting with your people, as far as management being the security management with the security team itself, uh, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you fit in as far as working with your team?
Well, my current position, I'm more of a 5 because I'm spread across a region. So I'm not only responsible here in Corpus Christi, I actually have other areas outside of Corpus Christi, southern New Mexico, Beaumont, Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Southern New Mexico and Louisiana. I would say that's outside of Corpus. So you're spread pretty big.
Pretty thin. So I have security managers that work with me. So I'm more involved with them. And then they, in terms of that trickle down effect, have supervisors that work for them. So they engage those supervisors, and then the supervisors engage the day to day officer.
Yeah, I've actually, I'm going to say this without getting into too much detail. I was in one of your facilities about uh, two, uh, right or 2 weeks ago, and this gray hair, I just had a great granddaughter. So I was there late at night, and of course, as I was trying to find my way, I had one of the security staff there assisted me, and it was awesome. I mean, because he knew where I was going and I didn't. So that's a plus in itself. And having that customer service related thing where you can actually find that. Some people you go to and where's so so? Oh, I'll go over there. You go, go ask the people at the somewhere else. So it was great having that, and I really thank you for that type of service.
Hmm.
Back to you. Uh, what would you suggest as far as someone that might want to get into an organization such as yours?
Well, you got to start somewhere. Um, I would suggest, uh, if you have not already obtained a level 2 and level 3 certification, that's the first step because without that certification, you can't get into certain programs, or you can't get your foot in the door of certain locations. Our system, we have a very stringent hiring process. At the minimum, we require at least 2 years of level 3 experience. Now we do understand that, that young, up and coming person who never worked security before was looking to get their foot in the door. We take that into consideration. But that's also with, additional, background of maybe that person is prior military or, had worked at another law enforcement agency but doesn't anymore. So we take that into consideration. But it's unfortunate that the novice, the complete novice, someone who's never done it before, we kind of have to go, get a little experience under your belt first, and then, probably reapply. But for those that haven't done it before, again, find a good level three, level two, level three program that teaches you well, and like Loss Prevention Texas. I mean, I tell you, we swear by Loss Prevention Texas. We always make sure that that's one of the things that we look at for somebody that's local to the corpus. Where did you get your training?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of odd. I hear people that have gone through training somewhere else, and I ask them a basic question, uh, like how long was your class, and they can't answer, and that's scary because that means that if they don't know how long their class was, that means they weren't there.
Yeah.
So, thank you for the pitch. Well, in your uh, expertise right now, do you think the area of private security is getting larger, or
It's
direct, or what do you think?
I don't see growth in the sense of it's getting larger. There are more companies that are popping up, of course, because everybody wants to have their own private security company. But what I have seen from the state of Texas is the change to making getting a level three a little bit more difficult, and not difficult in a bad way. Because prior to I think this past year, to get a level three, there was no requirement for a psychological evaluation. The only time you needed a psychological evaluation was for your level four, which is a personal protection officer. But as of last year, they implemented that you had to have what's called the MMPI, or the Minnesota Multiphasic
Personality
Personality Index
inventory.
inventory, on file. So that way, every time you renew, they bring up your list of things. They go, okay, yeah, he's done this, he's done this. Oh, he has his psych. So that's part of that program now. So that's a issue for that completely new officer now, because now that's an added expense that comes into getting that license. And what you run into a lot is they might not go to a reputable clinical psychologist in order to get that.
Yeah,
They'll pay somebody $275 to sign off on that PSP 13 in order to submit it to TOPS in order to get qualified. So I would say to those that are running current level three programs, companies, you know, do your due diligence on as it pertains to how did they get their qualification.
what do you mean the people that own the companies have to do what they're supposed to do to make sure things are right? Oh, see, it sounds like where that comes from. Speaking of MMPI, I know that the organization that you're with, excuse me, the organization that you're with, they were already doing the MMPI before the state of Texas asked for it.
Yes,
So I guess the state of Texas is finally catching up with you. Uh,
we were actually. I know it sounds boastful, but our program was the catalyst for a lot of change that came out for level two and level three. Not so much level two, but more so level three, because of the stringent requirements in terms of our hiring process. Our hiring process on a good day is about 90 days, and that's from interview to first hire.
so you mean you don't just somebody don't just walk off on the street and you give them a hat and you push them out the door and say, "You work for us"?
Yeah.
Okay. So and I say that for a reason because a lot of companies that's what they do. They bring you in, and then the next afternoon you're on your way and most of those operations are illegal, by the way, but because that can't happen in the top system, especially when you're talking about some of the things that we
Yeah.
do. Uh, and I say this to anybody: when you walk up to a security officer, you want it to be someone that you can trust.
Yeah.
You know, so
Most definitely. Most definitely.
uh, so what do you do for a sideline? I hear about these football games and stuff. What's going on with that?
Well, in my free time, what free time I do have, I'm I'm a member of the TASA, which is the Texas Association of Sports Officials, and locally I'm a member of the South Texas Football Officials Association. So I do, as we like to affectionately refer to it in South Texas, Friday Night Lights. I'm out on the football fields, making sure that there are officials on the field, so that way our youth can get out and play these football games.
So I guess the same fairness you have in private security, you have that same fairness when you're refereeing a football game.
Yes, definitely, because everybody thinks that, because I live in Corpus, that I have an allegiance to some Corpus Christi high school, and I have to tell them, I said, I'm not even from Corpus Christi. I didn't go to high school in Corpus Christi, so I'm completely neutral when I throw this flag on you.
So I think every official down in Corpus Christi should be from somewhere else.
Yes.
No, that I had to throw that in because I just happened to see some things one day, and I was like, hey, yeah, I used to do that. I used to do baseball,
Oh, yeah.
and a little different than football.
Most, yeah.
Y'all are in better shape because I have to run up and down the field. I just have to run around in a in a diamond,
Yeah.
But well, I think that. Do you have anything else you might want to add to getting back to the security end of the business? Anything you might want to add to anyone that might want to seek out a profession in security or?
Again, get properly trained. If you are going to do a level 3 job, which is an officer that carries a firearm, uh, be proficient in your weapons training. Shooting is a perishable skill. If you don't go out and do it,
You lose it.
you lose it. It's like a muscle. If you don't train that muscle will atrophy and go to waste. Um, and don't you shouldn't be going to the range every 2 years when it's time for you to requalify for your level 3. A box of ammunition costs, okay, price has gone up, but some 9 millimeter ball ammunition should cost you no more than $15. Go buy a box of ammunition, put the target out there at about 15 yards, and put 50 rounds in paper, and make sure you're on target, because you have to, again, know your target and what lies beyond it. And every round that doesn't hit paper is a round that might hit somebody else, and you're liable for every round that comes out of that firearm. You know, and because there's going to be some disclaimer from your security company that says, yeah, you shot that gun, we didn't. So so that's my biggest thing, especially when it comes to a level 3 officer, because you're carrying a firearm. Do your training, go out and shoot. You don't have to be a gun enthusiast or a weapon enthusiast, but you have to know your weapon and know how to use it properly.
So firearm safety is a must.
Is a must.
And yeah, for anyone that's having a firearm, from license to carry to whatever, if you're carrying one, you need to know exactly what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I always say, just because you can doesn't mean that you should, but when you have to, you need to be able to do what you need to do.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, Mr. Rolle, I want to thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
It was my pleasure. I know I was late. I was supposed to have been here at 10. I completely forgot because I didn't put it on my calendar. But I'm right down the street, so I told you I'd be here in 10 minutes. Here I am.
Just so you don't feel bad about this. I was supposed to be here at 6, and I didn't make it either. So it was good having you, and thank you very much again.
Anytime. I hope you invite me back. We talk, you have another topic of conversation for me, something a little bit more in depth and actually specific. I'll make sure I have notes ready for you.
Thank you. And let me let you know, you were episode number 2. You're very good. We'll talk to you later. Give us just a second.
All right, sir.